Welcome back to our channel. In this video, I'm going to share all of our expenses accrued over a month of full-time travel. We spent almost the entire month in Antalya, Turkey, except for one night at the end of the month when we traveled to Bucharest, Romania, and for 4 nights that I spent in northern Italy with family. In this video, I'll include breakdowns by category as well as some of our significant expenses. At the end, I'll compare our July expenses to what we spent in the previous 6 months of the year. We hope this will give you an idea of what it costs for a couple to travel full-time in Turkey. Check out our previous budget video to see our expenses from last month. Let's start by taking a look at our housing costs. We spent most of the month in Antalya, Turkey, which is along the Mediterranean Sea in the southern part of the country. Our Airbnb, which featured our usual amenity preferences, was near the Old Town and one of the main shopping districts. We stayed there for 30 nights at a total cost of $1,245.20. While Dana started the month in Antalya, I had flown to northern Italy to meet family in the beautiful small town of Fiera de Primiero at the base of the Dolomites in northern Italy. It was an absolutely stunning location, and our apartment had a great balcony with an incredible view. My share of the cost for 4 nights at the apartment was $332.87. Our last night of the month was spent in Bucharest, Romania, where we began a month-long stay. The cost for one night at our Airbnb there was $61.18. Our total cost for housing for the month of July was $1,639.15, or $26.44 per person per night. For our travel costs, we had several flights this month, all on Turkish Airlines, including my flight back to Antalya from Venice, Dana's flight from Istanbul to Antalya, and our flight from Antalya to Bucharest. My flight from Venice to Antalya was $363.82, while Dana's flight from Istanbul to Antalya was $82.48. Lastly, our flight from Antalya to Bucharest was $314.78 for the two of us. For our travel costs, we did utilize Uber several times in Antalya, including to and from the dentist and to our Airbnb from the airport in Bucharest. Our total expenditures for the month on Uber were $136.43. We did use the public tram in Antalya when it was an option, which came to a total of $7.38. In Italy, my family rented a car so we could get around the area, and I helped pay for the cost of it along with some of the highway tolls, which came to $147.61. I also contributed to the cost of a speedboat in Venice from our hotel to the train station, which was $25.08. Our monthly travel costs totaled $1,077.58, or an average of $17.38 per person per day. For our food and dining, the tourist pricing in Antalya made it fairly expensive to dine out, so we only ate out a few times and did some takeaway for other meals. For the month, even with preparing most of our meals at our Airbnb, we spent a total of $626.72 on dining out. We did a lot of grocery shopping so we could prepare our own meals, which came to $350.61. So our total food and dining for the month was $977.33, or an average of $15.76 per person per day. We took a couple of tours this month, including a boat trip to Suluada Island, also known as the Turkish Maldives. The cost of the tour was $44.42. We also took another boat tour to see the lower Duden Falls and swim in the Mediterranean. The cost of this tour was $82.80. Dana also made a trip to the local zoo, and her admission fee was $1.24. Our total cost for entertainment for the month was $128.46, or a per person daily average of $2.07. For our discretionary category, we had some higher than usual expenses because we both had dental work done while in Turkey. I got a cleaning and Dana got some dental work done. The dental work in Turkey is very affordable and high quality, and they have a lot of dental tours, and because of it. The work that Dana had done would have cost thousands in the US, but the cost for both of our dental services was $434.76 total. We also had the usual medications and toiletries that we purchased at pharmacies, which came to $82.56. We also purchased some new clothing as we replaced some worn out items from nearly 2 years of full-time travel, and Dana also got a haircut. These expenses totaled $137.08. The total of these expenses came to $654.40, or $10.55 per person per day. Lastly, let's look at our recurring monthly cost. Our health insurance premium with Cigna Global was $383.50, and our storage unit in the US was $121. Our cell phone plan was $181.87, and Dana added more data to her Airlo eSIM, which was $57.65. The subscriptions for our streaming services totaled $91.29. The total of our recurring monthly cost was $835.31. Our total monthly expenses for July were more in line with our average expenses for the previous months, coming in at $5,312.33, or $85.68 per person per day. Now I'll compare this month's expenses to the previous 6 months of the year. Our accommodations for this month were higher than the previous months at an increase of nearly 17%. This can mostly be attributed to having 2 accommodations for 4 days at the beginning of the month when I was in Italy and Dana was in Antalya. Our travel was down by 10% this month despite having several flights and other travel expenses, which is because the monthly average is skewed from the business class tickets and extensive travel we had in June. If you remove June's travel, we were up by almost double on travel compared to the first 4 months of the year. We had a big decrease in our food and dining costs, which were down by almost 45%. This can be attributed to eating out less and the lower grocery costs in Turkey. Our largest decrease was in our entertainment expenses, which were down by 72%. This is because the 2 tours that we took were reasonably priced. In the other expenses category, we saw our expenses rise by nearly 58%, which can mostly be attributed to the dental work that we both had done. Our recurring expenses went up slightly by just under 3%, which is in line with our monthly average. Overall, our expenses for the month were down by 12%. I do think that choosing not to dine out often in Antalya saved us on our monthly expenses, which is reflected by the big decrease in our food and dining costs. We also stayed in fairly affordable Airbnbs, which also helped reduce our costs for the month. Next month's cost breakdown will cover almost a full month stay in Bucharest, Romania. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see future episodes of our full-time travel costs.